When the client signs up with me or any other attorney you send them to, one thing that you have to know is that when the client signs a retainer statement, it has to indicate, and this is something else that will help you justify your fee, it has to indicate that you assume joint representation of this case. So basically, you've got skin in the game. And even though you don't handle these cases on a regular basis, your name must appear on the retainer statement the client signs. This way, the client can't come back and say, I didn't know the first attorney was going to participate. Well, it's right here. You signed it. It's in the retainer agreement that you signed. And there will never be an issue with that. But it's something that you have to include in that retainer statement. That's something we do every single time someone refers a case to us. So always ask that question. Hey, make sure I'm included on that retainer statement that we're assuming joint representation. So we talked about rejection letters. In the event you turn away a case, or even if I turn away a case that you've referred, we are obligated by law to send them a non-engagement letter or a rejection letter. And we have to tell them those two things. We can't handle your case. Here's the typical time frame in which you have to file a suit. It's a general time frame. There are exceptions. And we highly recommend you consult with another attorney immediately. And by doing that, you will protect yourself forever. Now, one thing that you do need to know, when your client, before you pick up that phone or before you send Mrs. Jones over to the trial attorney, you should ask the attorney or whatever law firm you're sending them to, hey, by the way, do you have a system of communicating with the client on a regular basis? Do you have a system of communicating with me, the referring attorney? Many attorneys are going to turn around and say, what are you talking about? We let our clients know what's going on every few months, 6 months, a year, 8 months, whatever. Or sometimes the client will track us down, we'll tell them what's happening. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You want to be able to send a client to somebody who's got a system in place, who now communicates with the client on a regular, consistent basis. Do you know what the biggest #1 grievance is there is in the state of New York? Lack of communication between the attorney and the client. And by the way, each one of you should be instituting, if you haven't already, a policy of consistent and ongoing communications with your clients. And I don't just mean by email. Make it by mail, make it by phone, make it by email. Communication is key. And if you now do that on a consistent basis so the client no longer has to track you down and say, Mr. Oginski, I haven't heard from you in 6 months. What's going on with my case? Remember, the more that they do not hear from you, the more they think that you're not doing anything to help solve their problem. So one of the things that I do in my own practice is every single month I have a personal phone call with every single client. I want to know 2 things during these personal phone calls. I want to know how you're feeling. What problems are you still having? What things have improved? Tell me what's happening with your life. What are you no longer able to do? And at the same time, I'm also letting them know what's going on legally with their case, even if nothing really has changed. The clients love it. And as a communication tool, I highly, highly recommend putting in place a system so that now you communicate with them on an ongoing basis, should be monthly at least. And you should not ever have the excuse, I have too many clients to do that. That's bull. You owe it to your clients, and you owe it to yourself and your law firm to communicate with these people who entrust you with their legal problem. Very, very useful stuff. So make sure the attorney has a system in place, and importantly, make sure that system includes you, the referring attorney. Because remember, you now send what could be a valuable case, profitable case to this law firm. You want to know what's happening as well. Instead of having to call the client and say, hey, did you get a call from Mr. Oginski or his office? You want to know directly from the lawyer what's happening. And again, you don't want to be chasing down the attorney every couple of months saying, tell me what's going on. You want that communication. Make sure the attorney you're sending them to has that line of communication. And it's very easy to do, but not a lot of people put it in place because it's too troublesome to do that. Okay? It's very, very useful to do that.